Welcome everyone to this Privacy Rules Privacy Espresso. My name is Alessandro Di Mattia, Legal and Executive Officer at Privacy Rules. And today I'm joined by Stephen Mathias from the Indian Law Firm Kochhar. Stephen is partner and co-chair of the Law Firm Technology Law Practice. And I'm very pleased to discuss today with him and to ask him about very relevant news, important news. That is the one coming from India related to the creation of a new directive on cybersecurity incident reporting. And we will delve a bit more into this together with Stephen. So Stephen, thank you very much for being with us. And my first question for you is, can you just give us a little overview on and the background in particular of this new directive?
Thank you, Alessandro, and great to be with you here. So India has had these cybersecurity incident rules in place for some time. And we've also had something called the CERT, the Central Emergency Response Team, which is responsible for combating cybersecurity incidents. The rules have been rather unique in the sense that they've been somewhat vague on whether one needs to report such incidents or not. And also they're not related to a breach of personal information of Indian citizens. It's just related directly to cybersecurity incidents. And also very uniquely, the incidents that have been listed have included all kinds of attacks. In other words, even an unsuccessful attack needs to be reported. Over the years, we've not seen a lot of reporting by businesses, and it appears the CERT has decided they need to change that. And so they brought about these directives. This direction essentially deals with cybersecurity incident reporting, and they've changed the period by when you have to report to just 6 hours, which is a very short period. The actual direction lists a very large number of cybersecurity incidents, including all kinds of attacks. And my understanding is that with many businesses, they face these kind of attacks through the day, every day of the year. So it's very, very much a challenge in terms of being able to notify very quickly. In addition, there are some other requirements. There are specific rules applicable to cloud providers with regard to subscriber information. And I think the idea is there that a business is using a cloud platform, and therefore it's the platform that needs to maintain certain subscriber information. There's also rules relating to virtual asset providers or virtual asset exchanges. And I think that's mostly focused on combating tax evasion and money laundering. There is another requirement which is quite onerous, which is to require every business to maintain logs, and they just say logs of ICT systems without going into what system specifically and what kind of logs specifically. So it's a very broad and quite a difficult thing to comply with. So that's roughly the background to these this direction.
Wonderful, Stephen. Thanks a lot for this very brief and dense overview. There is a lot, actually, that would be interesting to discuss, but I would start from the most alarming point under the privacy perspective, that is the one of the 6 hours reporting for data breach incidents, and the fact that, as you say, the broad variety of incidents that should be reported. So my first question is that feasible, and does this cover all the kind of breaches that you were mentioning before?
So I think by and large, the answer is no, it's not feasible. And most businesses have come back saying that, firstly, the list of cybersecurity incidents is too broad. And secondly, 6 hours is a very short time. As you're aware, under GDPR, it's 72 hours. And in fact, our draft data protection bill also provides for 72 hours. In terms of the list, what they have done is they have recently come out with frequently asked questions, an FAQ. And in those FAQs, they have referred to, they have somewhat indicated that what they're looking at are actual breaches. The language is somewhat vague, so it's left to businesses whether they want to comply strictly or they want to take the view that only those which result in actual breaches, those are the ones that we would report.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. That's, let's say, from one side, reassuring and definitely useful under the practical perspective. Another question going back to what you were saying at the very beginning, it appears, if I'm not mistaken, to be some requirement concerning maintenance of logs. Maybe you can delve a bit more into these points.
Sure. So maintenance of logs, the language used, it covers, firstly, because they use the term body corporate, it covers every business that exists in India. And essentially what they're saying is you have to maintain logs of your ICT systems. And they don't talk about what activity specifically, what kinds of logs. There are all different types of logs. So read literally, it means every log of every activity on every device. Again, in the FAQs, they seem to be narrowing it, where they are saying that essentially they're talking about logs that relate to a cybersecurity incident and being able to combat them and be able to, recognize what exactly has happened. So once again, language is vague. It's, it's not a very clear-cut direction. And so it's left somewhat to businesses to take a more reasonable approach and to narrow the kind of logs they want to keep to deal more with cybersecurity incidents.
Perfect, Stephen. Thanks a lot also for this answer. And one last question I would like to share with you is related to the fact that there are some unique requirements on cloud platform, if I understood it well also here, that concerns in particular subscriber information. So how, what does this cover? How does it work on that side?
So firstly, the language again is very broad. It covers all kinds of cloud providers. Again, read literally, anyone who provides a service electronically or through the cloud could be covered by this. But in practice, I presume they're referring to cloud platforms like an AWS or an Azure, where the businesses, basically being conducted on that platform. They're using servers on that platform. And so the idea is that in order to track what is happening, what that business is doing, it's the platform that needs to do it. And here, this doesn't relate to logs, but it relates to, basic subscriber information, ownership, nature of business, but also relates to the IP addresses allocated to and being used by that business. So I think the concept here is that when you're not using your own servers, your own systems, but you're using those of a cloud platform, then the cloud platform needs to maintain this.
Wonderful, perfect. Thanks a lot, Stephen, for this quick overview. We are running out of our time, so I would like to thank you very much for being with us today, and also our listeners for following this episode of the Privacy Espresso. Of course, if you need support on data breaches and managing privacy laws and regulation, feel free to contact us and to contact Stephen in particular from India. Thanks a lot to you all, and looking forward to meet you for the next Privacy Espresso. Bye, everyone, and bye, Stephen. Thanks a lot.
Good talking to you, Alessandro.